All right, everybody ready? All right, here we go. All right, so it was like
Folks, we will shut the door in the back corner.
this was like a team meeting of ours. We were like throwing stuff. No, it's I can't tell you how awesome it is to come up here and be able to be the first person up, really to kick off the 2024 season, and really signifies the media days signify the start of college football, and thanks to Jim Phillips and the job he does for the ACC and working to make football a priority in the league, and the tireless days and days he puts on it. Thanks to President Angel Cabrera and our athletic director Jay Batt for really working working every day and to put Georgia Tech in a position to be competitive and giving us the resources needed to be competitive and to go on our quest to be a championship football team, competing at the highest level in all of college football. Goes without saying the amount of work that they've put in, especially here in the last 6 months. So it's about so many people other than just the ones that are standing up here today. The new ACC, where we'd like to welcome 3 new teams. When you have Stanford, Cal, SMU, teams that are really expand the geographic footprint of the ACC and make it an even more dynamic league when you look at the landscape, the cities that we play in and that we're able to travel to. And when they made the expansion and when they were going through and to select teams that didn't jeopardize or didn't conflict the integrity that this league has, not just on the field of play, but also in the classroom and from an academic standpoint. The staff we have at Georgia Tech, the men that we've been able to put together on our staff, they're great teachers, they're great recruiters, a strong footprint in this league and in this region of the country from a recruiting standpoint. But more than anything, they're good men, and they're good mentors, they're good leaders, they're good teachers, and they're good role models for these young men we have here with us. And with that being said, the 3 guys that we have here today, just really encourage you guys to get to know their story and to know those guys. Because those 3 guys they're outstanding, and they're a sign of what is great in college football. And I'm sure so many other schools and the young men they bring with them are the same thing in the same way, and the stories they have to tell and the stories they have to share. That's what's great about college football, and that's why we love college football. Then the final thing I want to say is I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Dr. Homer Rice, and he was passed away recently. He'd been athletic director at Georgia Tech for many years. Meant so much to so many people all across the board, from being a coach to an administrator. 98 years of impact he's had on people that really the fabric of so many programs he's woven into. And what we do with our 5th quarter program, for life after football is really all part of something he started with the total person concept back many, many years ago. So to him, to his wife, his family, Coach Rice, you'll be missed. So with those things being said, I'd really like to open it up for questions.
Coach, before we send it into the room, if we could from the podium, curious, you've been involved with the ACC since enrolling at Georgia Tech back in 1996. So that's nearly over 30 years of your lifespan that you've had a touch with this league.
I'm not that old.
What does the ACC mean to you?
So, man, that's an easy one. It's 28 years now, 28 years ago. Look, I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, right? And, growing up, I never realized how much my life would change, because of the opportunity to come to play at Georgia Tech and to play in this league. When you grow up in Birmingham, you really only know one thing, and that's college football. There's no pro teams. You don't know pro football. College football is the top of the top. And that's where my passion for this game really was born, was there, and being involved in it. And what I didn't realize was just how much making that decision to come to Georgia Tech could change my life. It gave me the opportunity to be challenged not only on the football field, but challenged academically. It allowed me to grow as a young person. I came in at 17, I had not turned 18 yet, leaving home. And then by the time I left Georgia Tech, the things I'd learned, and you don't really realize those things as much when you're in school or when you just graduate, but the lessons I learned, the lessons about discipline, and how to learn about discipline, because I messed up. I made mistakes, I screwed up. Whether it be making a mistake, in my personal life or socially, or making a mistake on a converted first down against North Carolina on a Thursday night in 1997 and getting a 15-yard penalty. Probably kicked us out of field goal range and cost us the game. You learn those lessons. You learn your lessons about toughness, how to become tough, mentally tough. You learn lessons how to figure things out. It taught me how to lead. It taught me what a leader is. Taught me how to lead this football team. A lot of the lessons I use today that are lessons I learned in that 25, 30 years ago. So, we all know what the ACC is, and people talk about the ACC as an academic league and what it does from the academic standpoint. But at Georgia Tech, we don't allow that to be the only thing that defines us. We're not a group that wants to be defined by one thing alone. At Georgia Tech, we want players that want to come in and have aspirations of being not just great football players, right, but being great in their life after football as well, right? Being able to be, as we say, a first-round draft pick and a CEO. We want people to be able to reach both of those goals in life, to be able to have those aspirations, right? Georgia Tech and the teams in this league, they allow you to do that. And just look, if you look across the board, and I did this last night. Seven coaches in this league actually graduated from ACC schools. 7 head coaches graduated from ACC schools. So, that says a lot there, and the fact of, being able to be like we said, not just a first rounder, but a CEO, a president, a head football coach, to learn the lessons to do those things. And we take pride in that. And those are all things that I've learned over the years, and what is important and what makes it important. And look, I've been through, for all those years, I've seen everything there is to see about this league and what's great about it, from the traditions and the rivalries and the coaches and the former players and what they've done in life. Our kicker, David Frakes, when I was playing, he invented the camera on the iPhone. I've got another friend of mine, Robert Withers, who played at Boston College. He founded Wheels Up. You're talking like major corporations that these people have done, are running companies they've founded, right, as well as all the great football players. You think back to the legends in coaching when I was just as a player. Coach Bowden, Coach Brown was a legend back then. He's still coaching, so. Just the amount of history that goes along with it, and look, there's a little bit of a false, there's a narrative right now that this league, about this league, there is, and that this league, that football is not the same in this league for whatever reason as others, right? And that's up to us as coaches to continue to go out and how we put our football teams together and how we build our football teams. Right, to go out and compete, and how we compete each week in and week out, right, and what's important to us, and that's my job, right? That's my job as the head coach at Georgia Tech, and because that's what I know about this league, that's what I know about Georgia Tech and this league, right, that's the priority, is to build this football team with these guys here, right, to build this team to be able to go out and compete week in and week out, to be a championship football team, all right, and that's the end goal. People talk about expectations. The expectation, yes, is to win every football game. Right, there is no other thing, okay? And that's all part of the history of this league that's gone for so many years, and it's up to us to put our stamp on it as coaches and make this what it is.
We've got time for a question for Coach. We'll go to our right, Coach, second row.
Tyler Budge, CF Budge. Coach, last season you had an opportunity to open the year in Atlanta against Louisville, and this year you got the kickoff game in Dublin against Florida State. Can you talk about what those big stages have been like for the program and what that sort of added?
Yeah, I think the exposure that you get is great for these young men. It's great for these guys to be able to have the exposure on a national level. to have the exposure to people to see them, and that's what it's about. I mean, that's why they changed these rules several years ago in terms of NIL, the name, image, and likeness, is to create exposure for these young people. All right, and the more times you get to be on these stages, the more exposure you've created for these young men and for the program. But as far as one game being bigger than the other, there is no game bigger than one. You know, they're all the same. Every game's important. You only get so many games to play a year, and winning's hard. Winning's a hard thing to do, and so to look at one game bigger than another, it's not the way we go about things.
So that we can get to our student athletes, Coach, you have one more question to your right in the first row.
Lever KT, CFB Nation. I thought last year you stole a show at ACC Media Days. You talked about how don't talk to me about the past, don't talk to me about the future. Well, let's talk about here and now. Are you guys on schedule to where you want to be here and now?
Yeah, I mean, that's you thought about that one for a year, hadn't you? Yeah, we'd have to ask Tripp if we're on schedule or not, but no, we are. I think we've improved as a football team throughout this year. You build the culture of your football team January through July. Right? You build your football team in the 4 weeks in August. Right? And it remains to be seen what type of football team we're going to be. I know what type of locker room we have. I know what type of people we have on our football team, what type of leaders we have. And I'm excited to see where the team's going to be. So we're ready to get to work. The quicker we get down from here, quicker we get back, quicker we report tomorrow, and we get out on that field and practice on Wednesday.
Coach, thank you. You can switch places with Zeek Biggers. We will have Zeek up at the podium for a few minutes. Folks, if you've got a question for our student athlete, if you would please identify yourselves and the agency you're with. Els will come over this way with our third row. Zeek, if you will follow the aisle right up the middle. Your first two questions will come from those gentlemen right there on the left.
All right.
Hey, Zeke, how you doing? Coach made some wholesale changes, coaching changes on the defensive side of the ball. How have the players adapted to the new coaches?
We adapted really well. We love the guys. They came in here and built the culture that we needed, and we're looking forward to coming this year.
L's also there on your left. Go ahead.
Garrett Chapman, also at 24/7 Sports, 19 The Game in Atlanta. So along those same lines, I mean, Georgia Tech did struggle in the run defense last year. What sort of efforts are you guys making to make sure that isn't going to be a point of weakness this year?
Definitely just coming in. We recruited some new defensive tackles to help build that run game, run stopping. So definitely guys getting older in the program, and also adding those new additions to lead us to the way. Obviously, they're older. They one from Penn State, one from Miami. So they definitely going to contribute to stopping the run this year, and that's definitely we're going to stop the run though for sure.
Zeke, to your right, first row, gentleman with a hat.
Deshaun Minor, CLB Nation. All right, Zeke, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I wanted to ask this question to Coach Key, but I'm gonna ask for you. 3 minutes and 31 seconds left on the clock. You muff an onside kick. Then my guy, Kyle Efford, has a chance on a toss sweep to make a play against Georgia. I know the expectation is to win every single ball game, but we know that Georgia Tech has a different measuring stick because it's not really about the SEC more than it is ACC more than it is the team across the road. So how much does that drive you, the coaching staff, the team on a daily basis to compete with the team that I won't mention?
Definitely, we obviously watched film and realized like that was something we could have did and got that stop and possibly won that game. But definitely the rivalry with the team down the road, definitely like is, I don't know how to even put it, but we know how we want to beat them every year and what we need to do to beat them every year. So this year we're gonna definitely try to get that job done and hopefully we come out with the victory.
Zeke, from the podium, you're heading to Ireland in a few weeks. Your thoughts? Excited about heading overseas?
Yeah, I ain't never been to Ireland, so plenty of people haven't. So that's definitely gonna be a new experience for me. I'm gonna try some new food, something like that, chocolate, something. So.
Other questions for Zeke? We will go to your left, Zeke, second row, right in the middle.
Kelly Quinlan Jackets online. Zeke, the big question in my mind, you changed your look up. What went into the decision to cut your hair?
I joined a fraternity, so I'm a part of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, so that's kind of what led into that. But I like it. New look, stylish.
Zeke, also from the podium, in 2022, you saw action in 12 games. In 2023, you started 13 games. Talk about the elevation of your game from your sophomore to your junior year.
Really, for going into sophomore and the junior year, more mature. I knew what I wanted to get done, how to do it. Basically, it was just taking a step, growing into that leadership, starting to speak up, be more vocal around the team, and also handle business on the field. So,
Zeke, your last question will come to your left, about the fourth row, right towards the center of the aisle.
How you doing, Zeke? Arvon Bacon, All Yellow Jackets, Sports Illustrated. Just being the captain of the defense, how do you feel that Vandenberg and the brother from Miami has fit into the locker room? I'm saying, how they rubbed off on everybody?
Definitely, they came in, we clicked right away. Them guys, we be on the FaceTime group chats all the time on the game. So we do stuff outside of just being in the locker room football as well. So they definitely came in to click, and they definitely gonna be some guys that are gonna help us win games this year.
Zeke, thank you. You can switch places with Jamal. Folks, if you happen to ask Jamal a question, you've already asked a question, please identify yourselves again so that our new student athlete knows exactly who you are. Jamal, your first question will come to your left. First row, young lady towards the aisle. You can pull those mics down. There we go.
Layla Turner from AP Kelly as we see it. You switched from receiver to running back during fall camp and went to become Georgia Tech's first 1,000-yard rusher in 5 years. Tell me about your transition from slot to running back.
I honestly been getting this question a lot lately, but it's no pressure. I played running back when I was in middle school, when I was in high school, but really just as far as the transition, it did nothing but add value to me as a player. Being at the running back position, we know today's league is changing. They are looking for backs that can catch the ball out the backfield and not only just get handed off the ball. So I really just feel like it adds to my versatility as a player.
Zeke, Jamal, we're going to go to your right, fifth row, fourth row maybe, just off the middle of the aisle.
Hey, Jamal. Thomas Wilkerson, 90.9 The Light. Now that you've transitioned to the running back position, do you have any new goals for your career, especially after breaking 1,000 yards last year?
Yes, pleasure meeting you, Thomas. Definitely have some new goals. I'm not going to put that out there because those are kind of personal, and I wanted to keep those to myself. But definitely moving from that wide receiver to that running back position, I definitely have some goals that will be met this season. So definitely want to harp on that.
Jamal, from the podium, if it's a crucial third down situation, would you rather catch for a first down or run for a first down?
That's in Coach Faulkner's hands. Whatever play he decides. Oh, excuse me. We will be running that ball, and it will be a first down. It will be a first down, for sure.
To your left, right there by the aisle, third row.
Jamal, Rod McKenzie with 247 Sports, CoachAccess.com. The way you finished the season and the way your teammates finished the season, does that give you individually and your teammates confidence going into this year?
It absolutely does give us confidence, but that doesn't matter. What happened last season happened last season. This season, everybody starts 0-0. This season, we still got to put on our pads. It still will be 100 yards worth of field, and we still have to go and accomplish what we want to accomplish. So new season, new goals, new expectations for sure.
Keep it right there, Jamal, the gentleman to his left.
Jamal, Garrett Chapman, 92.9 The Game, 24/7 Sports here in Atlanta, or back in Atlanta. So Georgia Tech last year, the explosiveness of the offense was really put on full display on several occasions. How can you build on some of that success, both through the passing game and setting yourself up the way that you do that out of the backfield and in the rushing attack?
Absolutely. Through practice. Practice makes perfect. Practice builds perfection. As long as we have those detailed practices where we are going through a little bit of adversity and we're learning how to build off that adversity and come back together as a team, that would definitely help us on the consistency part as an offense of unit.
Jamal, from the podium, your last name is Haynes. The quarterback's first name is Haynes. When Coach yells Haynes, Who's he yelling at, you or your quarterback?
My quarterback.
Any other questions for Jamal from the room? Jamal, with that, you can switch places with Haynes, and we'll bring Haynes up for a few minutes.
Thank y'all.
Folks, same routine. If you would, please identify yourselves. And Els, we're going to go with a new contestant here, fourth row. Haynes, if you would, follow the center aisle up and then just to the left.
Okay. Najee Wilkins, All Yellow Jackets. Haynes, you talked a little about ACC Network, just the comfortability, you know, being a leader of this offense. Where do you feel like your game has progressed the most this offseason?
Probably being a leader. You know, the first year, it was my first year at Georgia Tech. You're still learning your teammates, who they are, what motivates them, stuff like that. But with this being a second year, that comfortability, you get more confidence. You become closer, more like a family, tight-knit, because you've been around each other longer. And I'd say my leadership has definitely improved, being vocal, not just leading by example.
Haynes to your left, second row, all the way to the left.
Hey, I'm Katrina Sackett for Sports and Culture Media. Haynes, how are you?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Good. A standout season for you last season, and you have a ton of solid guys around you that are returning. First off, how excited are you for the season with your guys again, and what are you hoping to see from yourself as well as your returners for repeated success?
Oh, I'm excited. You know, we've been talking about this since the bowl game in December, you know. So I've been ready for a long time, ready to get back at it. Tired of just doing the workouts, lifting, running. I'm just ready to put the pads on and get right to it. And building off last season is a big step, but now our expectation and our standard has risen, and it's not going to be the same. And like people always say, you either getting better or you're getting worse. You can't stay the same.
Haynes to your right, first row.
Jalen Wilson, CFB Nation. Haynes, you're one of 4 quarterbacks in the ACC since 2000 to have at least 2,800 passing yards, 25 passing touchdowns, 700 rushing yards, and 10 rushing touchdowns. And I want to ask, if you have a similar or better season next season or this upcoming season, do you feel like your name should be in the conversation as one of the best quarterbacks in ACC history in the past 24 years?
Yes. You won't say it about himself.
He definitely knew that. I was not going to say that, and that just goes to show you what kind of people, what kind of players I have around me. But as Coach already said, yes.
Haynes, we're going to go back to the third row, towards the aisle, 2 gentlemen, almost side by side.
Hey, Haynes. Garrett Chapman, 92.9 The Game, 24/7 Sports. Consistency was something that you guys really were working to develop last year, just in terms of turnovers or things like that, and then just game-by-game consistency. How have you guys been working to develop that this offseason, building into the next year?
It just goes each and every day, you make a routine, make a standard, what's going to happen, and not letting up on that. And the more routine you have each and every day, the more consistent your life gets, even outside of football. So now each and every day that even in football, outside of football, stuff keeps getting better and better because you have a routine. Everything's not just scatterbrained all over the place. If everybody has the same routine each and every week throughout practice, everything else is going to handle itself and it'll be more consistent.
Haynes, focus on the camera guy, then just behind him on the left.
Haynes, this is QCB, Fox Sports Radio Charlotte. Last year, Georgia Tech, you guys had your best season since 2018. And coming in this season, someone say Georgia Tech is a sleeper to win the ACC or compete for the ACC title. Would you take that a form as disrespect or as a form of like, yo, man, we're supposed to be there anyway?
I'd probably say both. To me, that's still disrespect, especially with what we had last year and what we have coming back. But then the same deal, like you just said, it's supposed to be like that, and we're supposed to be contending for that ACC championship each and every year with the people we have in the building, with coaches, with players, with the team and the culture that we've built.
Haynes, from the podium, you earned a bachelor's degree at A&M in business with a sports management minor. You're majoring in history, technology, and society at Georgia Tech. What do you want to be when you grow up?
After I get done playing as long as I can, I'm going to end up being a coach.
Other questions for Haynes before we excuse Georgia Tech? We're going to go, gentleman, right here in the middle to your left.
Haynes, Jessica Coger, plantthespear.com. You guys, there's been a lot of talk about the returning production that you guys have from a high-powered offense that averaged over 31 points a game last year. You obviously had the big matchup against reigning ACC champion coming out of the gate. You guys had a shootout against Louisville last year. How does that continuity coming into the season help you guys come out of the gate swinging in a really challenging first game of the season?
It's a big important step. If you don't have any continuity, if you don't have a strong culture, if you don't have a good locker room, when things happen, when adversity happens, your team's going to struggle. But I'd say we're in a good spot, good culture, good locker room, and I'd say going to that first game, we're coming guns blazing.
Haynes, your last question to the right, third row, almost towards the skirting.
Haynes, Billy Embody with On3. Good to see you again.
Good
You
to see you.
mentioned looking at becoming a coach one day. What have you picked up from your father, John? And also, as a Texan, what do you think about SMU joining the league?
SMU joining the league, I feel like that's a good opportunity. I can't say too much. We don't play them this year. They're not on the schedule. But what I've learned from my dad in the past years, one, how you carry yourself, two, how you respect and how you treat people goes a long way. And it doesn't matter what their job is. If you treat them with respect and with dignity, everything else will take care of itself, and that'll take it a long way. Take those connections, those life lessons a long way.
Haynes, thank you. Georgia Tech, good luck this season.
Thank you.
Folks, Florida State is due up at 3 o'clock.